fairly simple menu. You have not that many choices in each situation.
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty forgiving.
Uh-huh.
As the only complaint I had, you already solved it, was that you need a Y. You have to branch out to both the microphone on the subject and another microphone for the audience, because you can't switch
Oh, you're
between
talking
one and the
ACAP.
other.
You're talking ACAP now.
No, the camera.
The camera, right, but
It has a technical problem.
when you have an audience, yeah.
When you want to go from camera mic to the other one, to the house, to, what do you call it, to plug-in mic?
Yeah, right.
That you have to stop recording.
Uh-huh.
And that, and not only do you stop recording,
Quiet.
5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, welcome very much to Conversations. It's a pleasure to welcome to Conversations a dear friend of myself and all people who are really thinking, intelligent people on this planet, a fellow eminent producer of a daily show that's been going for a very long time here on Manhattan Network, and that's none other than Joe Friendly. And Joe, welcome so much to Conversations, and a couple of old timers here at MNN talking about things, and welcome so much. It's good to see you as always.
yeah, how far back we go?
Well, I go back, we both go back, Joe, don't we? Just think about it.
We
both
started
go back
at the
as
beginning.
far as M&N exists. That goes back about 1992.
How about public access in
Yeah,
general?
public access, it goes back a lot longer, doesn't it? How long have you been involved in public access? When did you get your first program up for teleprompter or whatever?
I came from Chicago to New York to
Yeah.
do public access.
Oh, you came here to do public because it existed here.
It was just starting, and I
Yeah.
got membership card number 2.
Good for you. Yeah.
And the idea was, at last, when I felt really brilliant, there'd be a camera to soak up all my brilliance.
Yeah, right.
And I could explain to the world in a way that needs explaining.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way, but we have to play another game. You know?
Yeah, right. Are you mic'd okay? Just make sure.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. As long as you
I
are.
got it
That
right
does-
here,
Okay, good. I don't hope
which
the
is
beard
a
doesn't
good
get in
place.
the way.
I have a clip to the tip of my T-shirt.
No, but that's really good. You came because of public. That New York drew you to here from Chicago.
But the irony is,
Yeah.
it takes times like this between you and me for me finally to face the camera. I've been doing everything else.
Yeah, you're always
I've
you're always behind the camera.
I had the same vision, more or less, as C-SPAN,
Okay.
that there were lectures going on, particularly people talking about their books. I
Yeah.
went to lectures a little beyond that particular trick.
Right.
There's always a speech that goes with a book.
Yeah. Right.
But I was chasing down lectures that I thought were worth public attention.
Yeah. And,
But I want here and now to confess publicly that I screwed up.
why?
That I left them on the shelf after their one showing on public access.
Yeah.
I didn't make copies and distribute them. I didn't create a catalog. I didn't get them digitized and now on the internet. And I'm haunted by, I got to do that catch up now. And I consider, like, where will the different machinery go? And should I apply for a grant?
Yeah. Right.
But it is something that ought to weigh right here,
Yeah,
that,
right. Well,
there
but
is
you
so
have,
much stuff on my shelves.
Yeah.
Now you're saying, oh, the stuff you like that I did, okay, but just imagine all this other good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, as far as what I've been doing lately, okay, I want to address that in particular,
Okay.
is that I felt that there is among my viewers and the viewers in general
Uh-huh.
who need urging to join in the internet world.
Okay.
And the reason they're watching cable TV, a lot of them, is because they're not hooked up to the internet, in particular the old timers.
Okay.
So I wanted to tease the old timers into opening up that internet window
Okay.
and buying a computer and learning how to use it. And I'm assuming, hey, you guys, that I wanted to give them a peek of what is on the internet. that it is a window to the world.
It
And in my tradition of rabbinical blood, that's my rabbi thing to do, is
Right.
to say, don't miss out on that window.
Right. No, and you've been doing that. I can testify.
So, what,
yeah,
but
quietly
here's
often,
another
yeah.
confession, though.
Uh-huh.
I describe myself as a recovering lawyer.
Recovering lawyer.
And what
that's
I'm
funny.
teasing about is that the lawyer's way of thinking, I condemn as a game with words. And in my revolutionary role, what I want to bring to humanity is a different way for people to act than the way lawyers act, and the way businessmen act. That what I'm proposing is the organic human way of being instead of the commercial hustle.
Right.
That's the dramatic breakthrough. That's the revolution.
Right.
right
I
there.
quite agree with
It's
you,
like
yeah.
if we could agree on that, the
Yeah.
Occupy movement and this and that, that's the revolution.
Yeah.
Here's what else I add to it, revolution made simple, is that I'm proposing, get ready, this is so wild, I'm proposing that public corporations serve the public.
Impossible. And that there be quality in the manufacture of all our devices and other unattainable wizardry you're trying to do. Yeah. No, I understand.
But
yeah.
that would be radical. And indeed, the revolution is, I think, if we can tame the top 500, plus or minus, and by taming them, I mean, hey, fellas, the new game you're going to be playing, yeah, what's the new game? Well, there's a couple of changes. Instead of the hierarchy involving people getting kicked right in the balls,
Yeah.
instead of that, we're going to preserve those testosterones in your testicles that are a system of distributing power and management. You got a PhD? No, I got an MA in management, business? Oh, wow. That management will be more consistent with human, full, conscience, clear modalities of human existence. And
All
what
right.
that means in particular is, you know, when Jefferson wrote all men are created equal, that was in a letter to the king. He was saying, we're your equal, pal. And so that level of dignity in the corporate hierarchy as well is the radical change. Now, lest I be accused of being a little utopian,
No,
I
it's
do
a
want to
proud
offer
thing.
that we're
It's
only
a
going to
proud
do it
thing.
to the top 500 and the rest of the guys can play their games, but we're going to help human dignity along in a new, improved way. And that is, according to my revolution, we're going to use this cleansing trick appropriate to our situation of laying on people $1,000 a week as the first ones to volunteer that their job shouldn't be done. Eventually,
say that again. 1,000.
this was a trick I had in my cutesy little brain.
No, spell it
I was
out.
saying we're going to give 1,000 a week
to
to every citizen.
every
but we're-
citizen.
But we're going to do it a year at a time over 7 years.
Okay.
So
it's
the
like-
first ones can be you can volunteer to be the first ones to get it. But we're going to have a urging that women who are in marriages, they'd like to step out, step forward, here's your 1,000 a week. Yeah, we want you to feel independent, do what you feel is right in your heart. And if you feel you're working at a job that you'd rather not work at, in particular if you feel you're doing things that shouldn't be done, or you're contributing to waste, you're fooling people, you're hustling them into making decisions that really aren't in their interest.
Right.
If you feel that, maybe you want to be the first ones to volunteer to get your 1,000 a week, and you know, maybe travel a little, look around, and see if you can get in a new group. But we are going to try to create jobs where your conscience won't be challenged, where
It even might make it possible for them to do something voluntary that is really human and based in human communication.
actually, I'll make it even more emphatic.
Okay.
What I'm proposing is that the American people face the reality that not only are we capable of doing wonderful things, but that we're chicken. And so let's face the fact that we shouldn't be chicken, and that we have the right as a people to redesign the whole deal, all the property ownerships, all well, that's a big piece of it.
Yeah.
But the people do theoretically have that control. We could have a peaceful revolution where we go, here's some new words, a new deal, new games to play, new form of government. That's definitely the revolution I'm proposing, and a lot of it is direct democracy, that we have arrived at that point where the representative democracy has certainly gone bad in our situation. They become, well, it's corruption. You know, it's a money thing going on in Congress and in politics and the party system and all that. That's just junk.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I was thinking of this hat that Americans
Put it
could,
on the-
or here, I'll make it easy.
Yeah. Oh, put it on your head. Go ahead. Let's replace. I can't. You got to stick it out a little bit. Let's replace our corrupt government is one thing, and on the sidebar,
and then it says,
they got bribery rules. And
now
then,
what about that part? Is that fair to say? I've considered, sometimes I've even gone so far as to say bribery rules Washington, bribery rules DC, but this version of my hat, it just says rules. But I've tried all different language. Personally, I like to spell out Washington still, that local government isn't quite that bad, and I didn't want to paint it with that broader brush.
Ah, that's interesting in and of itself. Local government can be pretty crazy. They got speed traps and whatnot, and all kinds of corruptions that go.
But
on.
I think basically I trust my local government. I don't consider.
You do, okay.
In Albany, they've gone bad. The party system has ruined things. That the trouble with the party system, I want to condemn right here publicly on the Harold Chandler Show. The problem is that the hope of democracy was that people could reason together. And the party system gets in the way of that there isn't talking going on in Albany between Democrats and Republicans.
Is that true? That's what I hear. I don't follow it carefully.
It's even like forbidden in
it's
different
worse
situations.
than the Congress, yeah. the
So
National Congress.
that's sham democracy, which reminds me, I did want to point out one thing just while I'm thinking about it, which is totally unrelated, but I do want to acknowledge Amy Goodman, that I was listening to her show in the kitchen on the radio
This morning?
2 mornings ago, I think
Yeah,
it
right.
was.
Yeah.
And it was like a religious moment, that they had like a technical mistake going on, and they repeated over and over again the Chinese officials' answer to the complaint by the Hong Kong people that what they were being offered wasn't living up to their agreement to receive democracy, that they were putting some committee framework into it. And the woman says, we want a real democracy, and the repeated comment was, we have to deal with the risks of universal suffrage.
Yeah, right.
Or something stronger than that.
Right.
But it's like acknowledging there are risks in universal suffrage. And then I was wondering out loud
real democracy is dangerous, yeah.
But we don't have that many words for it.
Yeah,
and
right.
Suffrage is not a particularly nice word. It's not like spinach. It doesn't do much. And it was really invented by opponents of democracy. It wasn't the fans who
Is that
dreamed
right?
up
Is that true?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. Yeah.
I'm just guessing, but I
No,
pulled full.
well, your guesses are pretty good on the whole. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's another thing.
But
yeah.
that thing about $1,000, I didn't quite
Okay,
get
so
it.
I just thought-
$1,000 a week, did you say? Did you say $1,000 a week? So what's
1,000 a
that
week,
about
50 grand.
$50,000 a year. Okay,
So that's
that
like-
would make somebody more or less able to be on their own volition, independent of the wage system, which is called in many instances correctly a form of certain slavery.
I like
Wage
that interruption.
slavery is the term the Marxists used, and it people are really enslaved to that. That's what keeps them in
So that would
thrall
achieve-
to the system.
I want to thank you for that interruption, Harold.
Well, no, that's just no, but
You're right. That point
got
has
a
to be
figure
faced.
you can
What's
deal
it going to
with,
be
yeah.
like
Yeah.
to have 1,000 a week? Theoretically, as compensation for suffering, having black skin, brown skin, Hispanic skin, I think repatriation ought to be some of those years.
I'm thinking
At least one, but
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
one for
thinking-
everyone. But here's the idea was
Okay.
to let it ripple through
Yeah.
society.
Yeah, right.
That each one, within 7 years, you get to watch how other people's lives change when they get their big Social Security check.
Well, the
when they
Social
get their
Security
big grand week deal.
They don't get that much, more and large. But Social Security is something there. But the idea would be also What about the idea that people get a sense of identity about their vocation or their calling, or even their fulfilling a task in terms of the wages they get paid to make sure the bus runs on time or the taxi works, or do you understand what I'm saying? The positive feedback of getting money for what you do in a wage system, I don't think that's to be thrown out lightly, because the system does work.
Now, you've interrupted me, but that became a ramble, and I do appreciate the point you're trying to make, but you got to like
What's the thing I
ease up.
wrestle with in my
Yeah,
thinking?
okay. I have the answer.
Okay, good.
I'm only going to ask you to consider a mechanical solution to one of the wonders of Manhattan is how to shut Harold up. But I was going to ask you to respect when I raise my hand, you struggle, hard as it might be, to bring a quick close
We've
to
advanced since the time you brought in duct tape over my mouth, which was really funny. That was funnier than Abbott and Costello, but go
They
ahead.
still talk about it as recently as
Moments
today.
that live. Yeah. Okay.
But I do invite you to look at some of your tapes, smile. Maybe you can go into a yogic thing. One thing that might work, Harold,
Yeah.
seriously,
All right.
as far as solving your interruption problem, one thing that could help is marijuana oil.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Now marijuana smoking is we can talk about what that means to people when they do it and stuff. But I want to declare that I have experienced marijuana oil, and it solved for me the urge to talk and to sit back as an old wise man and listen to other people talk and to give me a bigger perspective. It really worked. Because I am afflicted too, that when I feel an idea coming on, I'm so worried I'll lose it. I got to blurt it out quicker than hell. And that,
Run that sucker down.
but I think you would smile, a Joe Friendly smile, if you had the marijuana oil and you were doing a guest and you felt in your mind, here's where I usually would say this, that, and the other, but you can still kick back and keep smiling and not say it. It's like the oil gives you that much extra grip on reality.
We just had a program today with Timothy Leary. We were talking about a lot of those things,
But
Yeah.
well, I'm in the spirit of Leary. I'm saying there's something new that came along. There's a new drug, and it's the oil. And the oil is the stuff that cures cancer.
That's what Rick Simpson
Oral,
tells us, yeah.
but here's the deal now. I'm going to declare
Okay.
that there is a cure currently existing on our territory for cancer, but because of politics, which is another language in the realm of what's the word? Degeneration,
Okay.
corruption,
Yeah.
politics, degeneracy. That because of politics, the stuff that Jefferson and Washington praised has become a tool of a police state.
Well, I
to,
think it's
play the
changing
police-
now.
it's-
You mean the thing about marijuana?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's changing now, isn't it? It's
but
becoming illegal.
hold
Yeah,
on. There.
yeah.
The point I'm trying to make here and now
Yeah.
is that a program like yours, Harold, this program is an announcement that the marijuana laws are unconstitutional, that in the name of the people, I declare that the Ninth Amendment declares that there do exist rights that the people have beyond what has been listed with numbers here. So number 9 comes along with the first 8 saying, hey, there are others besides what are listed that are not to be denied or to be disparaged. In other words, not to be disparaged means just as high grade, just as high status, other rights. but we have a police state. But I did find this language, incidentally, Harold.
Yeah.
I've been putting this, in, I just ramble a bit here, but I
That's
did
all right.
put on the internet recently that I discovered Zelikows language in his seminar of 1998 in Aspen, Colorado for the Bush administration. Before they got into power, he held a seminar in which the principals attended. And the name of the seminar amounted to the planning of 9/11 to scare the shit out of the American people so we can have a police state and militarize.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
He was the
but here was the
myth-maker.
title,
Yeah.
right, the Mythmaker Man. Here was the title. His title for his seminar was Catastrophic Terrorism, Elements of a National Policy. And I downloaded that before it was locked off, and now you have to sign up with the Harvard Press and yakety yak. But it was a public document for a while.
Uh-huh.
I think it ran, I'm not sure, either 70 pages or 20 pages.
Wow.
The Harvard Press version, I think, comes out to around 70 pages. But anyhow, on page, within the first 5, I found the language that said that a catastrophic terrorist event involving the deaths of thousands or tens of thousands could be used as a new Pearl Harbor to push constitutional limits on surveillance. And what else was it? Detention.
Okay, yeah.
They were already planning on
Yeah.
pushing the limits.
Well, okay.
So anyhow,
Yeah.
that was he, and then he claims, so just your guest just now, I challenged him that I said, how do you think the concrete of World Trade Centers turned to extremely fine dust? And he said, well, all that pressure, when it comes down, that's the weight of the buildings. And I was a little flabbergasted. I thought he could do better than that. I thought he had at least a Judy Wood weapon or something. But the deal is this, America. I want to offer on your show, Harold, the answer to how the concrete turned to extremely fine dust. Now just imagine that language.
Yeah.
Now there's dust, there's fine dust, and there's extremely fine dust.
Okay.
Now, that's a clue already, don't you think?
Yeah. I'm not sure where it's leading to in terms of how it came to be. I just don't know. I haven't
Well,
thought
that
about
was
it.
my question to him.
Yeah.
How did he think it could come to be?
Do you know how it came to be?
Oh,
or-
absolutely.
Tell us
Hallelujah.
if you think it's relevant to understanding.
I
that.
think it's relevant to
that statement is
understanding that
pretty
our government is unworthy of its power right now. It did feed us a big lie. 9/11 is a big lie.
Okay.
And the lie is that the Arabs did it, when in fact Uncle Sam did it as a false flag operation totally.
Why would they do
With
that?
help from Israel, that's for sure.
Okay, and they would be let's just back up a little bit and say, why would they do that? And what is it that causes them to do that? You know, what's their thinking
Right.
that
okay.
causes them to do
Okay,
such
now I
a
got your
thing?
question. Let me try to answer
Yeah.
that without any more interruption. But it's a tough question. I want to really respond to it. Why?
Yeah.
I was saying that in this paper that was published, Catastrophic Terrorism Element, they explain it straightforwardly. They say it will be a change from a regular civilized situation to a more of war in the air,
Yeah,
a
right.
war on terror.
Right.
And and they say it'll create a change in historical period in the minds of the public.
Right.
So in terms of why, they wanted to go police state because they were worrying the natives were growing restless, that maybe they would notice power is being shifted from 80% to 20%. It hadn't gotten back maybe to 1% yet, but
Those
there
are
was the
figures you could
problems were
work with
happening.
those are figures you could work with in terms of a template. Yeah, 80 to 20. I mean, you're talking coming out of history.
Well, we're guessing
Yeah.
why. That's
Yeah.
what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
guessing
right.
or trying to
Well, there's
analyze
Powell
why.
is the big one. Powell, what about him? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Powell or Power? You
With
said-
L's.
Oh,
What about that?
I couldn't hear
Give me
you.
the Powell, baby. Come on, Powell.
You're Powell, you mean the guy who stood in the UN and did that, or did you say
No, not
power?
that
Are
guy.
you using like a street language for power?
Lordy,
Powell?
lordy. All right, here's the deal.
I couldn't understand it literally.
I was teasing you a little there, but sit back and here's this Powell deal. Now, who I'm talking about was Powell. So we're talking something like that. You know who that was? That was the guy that made Harold cough just there. No, that was the guy who ended up on the Supreme Court.
On the Supreme Court, Powell? I'm sorry, you're playing with me or something. I don't know.
I wasn't kidding around. He was on that court, buddy. Lewis Powell, baby, come on.
I don't know who Lewis Powell is.
All right, well, here's what I'm going to tell you then. Oh, I thought you already knew. That's why I was teasing.
I
Oh,
mean,
here.
in
Powell is part of the big secret of where our government went bad. You know, we have a corrupt government now. Here's how it went bad. Powell is the guy who did it. What he
okay,
did,
share it with me. I don't know. I don't follow. Okay.
it is referred to as a secret memorandum dreamed up by Powell to the powerful.
Okay.
And he warns them that the natives are growing restless, that the rich have to seize power against the socialists, the Marxists.
Oh.
And what they should do is spread their money around to create organizations, and in particular, another dimension of the system is to throw money around at the universities to eliminate left-wingers from the faculty.
Oh.
So it was like a deliberate war that was orchestrated by Powell, and then you can watch the historical developments that occurred, and shortly thereafter he's appointed to the Supreme Court.
He's on the Supreme. I'm really got a big gap here. I don't know. Is there a Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court justice named Powell?
No more.
No more. When are you talking? What years? Is that in the 50s or 60s or? I'm caught because I think of the general who talked to Powell, he's Secretary of Defense and all that. The Powell that comes to my mind, but I'm sorry, I'm just ignorant.
Well, you caught me on the number. I would guess off the top 88, but somewhere in that vicinity.
Well, okay, yeah.
Where
okay.
the
but the premise.
in other
is
words,
there. The
for
premise is there,
example,
yeah.
it's sort of like the 60s
Uh-huh.
where the youth woke up, all of a sudden the rich woke up and said, we got a problem here. We got so much power, the people are eventually going to figure out there's something wrong about
That's
it.
interesting. And if I may, you have been putting really interesting stuff, and you're one of the few over here.
Oh,
in
that's
M&A.
right, about the stuff I'm putting on. Oh, I do want to answer that question.
Well, could I ask it?
Well,
is
you
that
already
you've been
did.
putting up, and I'm really happy.
All right, I'll give you the
Twice
answer.
you
All
put
right,
up
here's
a
the deal.
thing with
All right, all right.
Thomas Piketty.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
really interesting.
Well, I want to give, I'll tell you about that, buddy. You see, I
Yeah.
was on the subway,
Yeah.
or was it the bus, and some guy is yakking at me, and he pulls out all kinds of paper on Piketty. So I was hip to it, and that was you. So
Well,
thanks.
yeah,
So after
okay.
he turned me on to him, I looked on the internet, and I
Yeah.
found some stuff, and I put it on.
Yeah, but that's good for you because
But
you
here's
don't
what
see
I
it.
want to say.
Okay.
I could go to jail right now
Mm-hmm.
for the crimes against the copyright laws that I have cheerfully gone along, and my only defense is I've been doing it in good faith. It's like I'm assuming that the copyright holder would be happy with what I do. That's mainly my
Yeah, to
philosophy.
get the word
I
out about
don't,
they
I
buy
don't
books,
benefit
yeah.
other than that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does.
But
yeah.
it's not legal. So I'm saying I'm like a recovering lawyer. I'm doing it anyhow.
May I say something?
Yeah.
The Google is like becoming the medium of record. I mean,
Well, you're right. It's like when you put stuff up on YouTube, you have your choice. Do you want the copyright? Do you want to give it in the public commons? I just say public commons.
No, yeah, well, I do too, obviously. But no, what I'm saying is Google has an obligation. It's a big company, and they got a lot. I think Kurzweil is chief economist there now. I mean, they got, and it's a major company. And they have to, in order to keep that role, and it's Paul Levinson who came to the social media is coming, and it's Facebook and Twitter, but the real medium of record is not the New York Times or it's not print, it's multimedia, and the medium of record is YouTube. And they do have ability algorithmically to enforce copyright law that they have to do in order to stay the medium of record. And they do. So if you're doing something that's against copyright law,
No. Here's where you're wrong.
They will not put it up.
You laid that rap on me before, and let me offer you
I
the
think
answer.
it's true.
The answer is I'm taking from them rather than putting on copyright material. So my
Or your stuff
relationship.
that's already up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, what do you call that?
That's just
Isn't that criminal?
distribution.
Hey,
No,
wait, is it?
If
Is
it's
it
on
legal?
YouTube, it will have passed the most stringent algorithmic
no.
checking
Once
of
it's on
copyright.
YouTube, it's still copyrighted.
Well,
That's
okay.
a problem that I've been ignoring, but I'm thinking, hey, it is a problem.
Well, with all
You're
due-
saying it's not a problem.
Let me share an experience,
Yeah.
okay? Because we had Left Forum, and we put it up, and we talked with Seth, the guy who organized it, Seth, I forget now, Faber or
Adler.
Adler, right? Nice guy, and they put that, and we did a thing, and we put in there a program with him, a little clip that had some music in it. There was an advanced.
Oh, wait,
thing.
hold on. Oh, stop. Hold on. That
Well-
whole story, I don't want to go there on that one. You've already told me that whole story. I know it
Well, I
very
haven't
well.
told the audience.
Yeah, well,
though.
but that's not as important to what we're talking about. I want to get more generalities going than just that horror story.
No,
that-
it wasn't a
no,
horror
it
story.
was. Yes, it was. All it comes down to is this. YouTube does have the technology, the whole Google system, to recognize copyrighted material and complain about it.
And not
So,
let it go up. With
Hey,
me, they didn't let it go up until I got rid of that.
Right. They
And it was
don't
right
allow
down.
violations of copyrighted material to be broadcast
So if it's on
publicly.
YouTube, it's past that algorithmic challenge.
Right.
If it's on YouTube, so it's good to distribute. If it had been
But it
copyright,
itself is copyrighted.
well, I don't know why it would be copyrighted. It's
Well,
the
for
open
one
record.
reason is when you watch the movie at the very end on YouTube, it says C with a circle and all that. People are claiming the copyright at the end of it.
Well, I don't know.
So now you can say that's not YouTube's worry. That's the guy who owns the copyright or the company or whatever. So I'm taking that chance. I
Anyway.
mean, I'm putting my head that really.
Right in the
But I
guillotine.
will say the ones that I've been showing lately
Yeah.
are from Pirate Television Seattle. And that guy, after I showed about 3 of his pieces, I just felt inclined to look up his phone number on the internet, and his email address was
Yeah.
kind of hard. So I emailed him and I said, I do similar stuff, and his programs I have already been playing, and I didn't ask permission, but here I go, I'm asking permission.
Yeah.
And I like it that his shows are 58 minutes and
Yeah,
mine are
right.
50. And a lot of the stuff I take from YouTube is longer, and I have to trim it,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is like, oh,
yeah,
that
it's
hurts.
hard to. It's like you're throwing out which baby. Yeah.
But I usually include their end credits.
Yeah, okay,
That's the
good.
main thing.
yeah, you're doing a good job. Yeah.
But it's like, again, which incidentally, to break to a whole different main point, and that is all our programs should be archived. We're going through a change of time period
Well-
between introducing to the public on TV, bam, it's over,
Yeah.
or it's on and that begins, and anytime you want, you can go there and find it.
Yeah, right. Well, you've got the originals, so it's just a matter of a clerksmanship
Well,
to
but
put
I'm
it
saying
in order.
this company, M&N and all that,
Yeah,
if it was totally, had all the money it wanted and needed and all the rest of it, and was of the mood, it should archive all our programs as they're played. From then on, they're accessible to the public.
That would be a good thing. It'd be a server in the sky that could entertain it. And it's getting to where they just got the exponential increasing is just making all kinds of things possible that weren't ever possible before. This digitalization is going on. It's just incredible what's going on, and it's not going to stop.
Well, I can
in terms of
imagine the
capability.
M&N management just sort of scratching their heads saying, oh, to consider archiving everything,
It
oh.
wouldn't be that hard. It's 24 hours a day, 4 channels. It wouldn't be that much. It wouldn't be unbearable.
Well, you know what it comes to, how many office cubicles does it take?
It doesn't take any. It could be all done algorithmically. I mean, it could all be done. I mean, the capability is emerging so rapidly that that's what's changing everything. We're coming into a digital world.
Okay,
Everything's
so
changing.
meanwhile, back at my new programming that you've noticed.
Yeah,
What I did was, what started me, well, first of all, the YouTube world, that's where I've been hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of my waking hours in the world of YouTube.
Yeah, well, I think we all have, yeah. Or a lot of us have, yeah. In public access, I mean, yeah.
So it is sort of M&N gone into the, it's the same similar philosophy
Yeah,
to
oh,
public
yeah.
access. And
Yeah.
so it's,
And public access is really important. I think it's really important. I believe in public access.
so,
it should be
so
supported
I'm
by
doing
the
this
general
blur where I'm
society.
taking from them, bringing programs I like
Mm-hmm.
into my time slot.
But
It's sort of in the tradition of my program. I
Yeah,
try to
right.
live up to my title,
Yeah.
Truth for a Change.
Right.
And so it's sort of the idea of startling dimension. It's
Yeah.
sort of like fresh. It's like you should feel a little joy, like, wow, ooh, that too.
Okay, I make a point. You've been talking a good deal and everything, but we're going through a transformation now that it's introducing a qualitatively new way of being in the universe. It's going through this change, and they're going through this transformation, and
Stop.
it's
Stop.
well.
No,
okay,
the
I
reason
said
I'll
5
tell you
words,
this, no, the
okay.
reason I told you to stop, Harold, was I saw it coming. And those of us who know you the best know that you are about to launch onto a series of words that chain on and on for approximately 2.7 minutes,
Not that
in
long.
which I'll tell you what you say. I mean, I know it already.
Okay, you just go ahead. Say it. Say
Okay,
it.
here's
Say
what
it.
it
That's
comes from.
interesting.
Okay. Of course, on the one hand, we have the danger of species. We're at a rival where we could kill the species off. So that's one. We got to throw that in all the time. But now back to the good part. We have achieved the capability. Did I hear that long enough? Capable. We are capable. What's that mean exactly? We have the technology, the theoretical ability, the potential equipment or making that equipment, the buildings in place already, the electricity,
Design
the
templates.
water. And what Joe Friendly says is, folks.
No, wait, you didn't finish.
So this
No,
has
but
to
what-
be acknowledged that we have this capability.
No, what
so
capability to what? What makes it unique
that it's
from
the
all
bu-
of human history?
never before.
Well, you
guys.
shouldn't leave that
Never
out. That's the
before.
punch. That's like leaving out
This
a
is the
Groucho
first
Marx
time.
punchline.
This is our first time.
No, you didn't use the words that we have. In a
Achieved.
materialistically organized and politically organized world, we have transcended material scarcity for the entire Homo sapiens species and the equality and the ecology for the first time only since about 1970, a marker.
And here's what I got
Now
to say
that's
to
not
that.
added. That
Here's
makes some meat
my,
to it.
Here's my answer.
Okay.
You have before you, unappreciated and neglected, poor little me, who's the guy with a solar generator of the political power necessary to achieve a successful transformation to the appropriate social forms.
Well, I was going to deal with Piketty, but okay, not. Because you put up Piketty, and that's a book that all the establishment people are reading.
Man, I am way past Piketty. Way past. Man, you're talking to a
Well, you're
cat
talking
who is
about
like
birthdays and stuff.
Piketty. Piketty is like a little guy. I'm a big guy. You
Well,
can do
you
a
are big.
Piketty
You
on
are
me,
big.
man?
I'll tell you what.
You know what
you're the
Piketty is good
strongest
at?
person I ever
Piketty,
met.
Piketty is good at telling
Physically.
you what's wrong about it.
No.
But when it comes to what we ought to have going, brother,
Well, go
it's
ahead.
Joe Friendly going to tell you that.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Ain't that the case?
Well, I don't know if you're going to talk about the birthday thing. You've had that for a long time, and
No,
you got your
no, I
plan
have-
for peaceful revolution. It's
There
a
you go,
major-
that's it.
It's a good piece of work.
There
it
you
really
go.
Is.
Oh, boy.
It's really worth. Let them know about how they can get to it and everything.
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm trying to come up with the language
Yeah, right.
so that revolution could actually sneak up on you, and it already did on your program and you missed it. I was just giving you those two elements of the revolution, and what were they?
I don't
Public
remember.
corporations, how do they, what's the deal with them?
Public corporations to serve the public is what you said,
That's the
which is, of
revolution.
course, impossible against all laws of the physics of the universe. It could be argued.
How about by order of the people?
Yeah. Well, okay, go on.
No, that's the revolution. By order of the people, public corporations are now declared of the people such that their aim, direction, management, personnel are oriented to aiming toward doing the right, best, good thing for the people and the planet.
That would be for, would that be for what is normally termed the public sector? And if it is, how would it align with the private sector, which is usually a thing that they have in terms of the overall operation of the system?
I'm glad you asked that question. Now, would you please, as Jesus himself would have said, shut the fuck up and let me
I
explain
don't
the
think he
answer?
would have said that. I really don't. I don't think. I got a lot of people in my corner who would agree with my estimation of the good man. I'm trying to do some little shtick here, you know, because you're waxing serious.
Yeah, but here I am going to do it, so give me a break. Come on, hey. Well, I did use unusual language there. Okay. Hey, guys, what's the deal here? Now, I was going to, first, remember, I had to do the rattle off that you were going to rattle off and talk about, and you filled
you
me
missed
in.
the friggin' punchline. Okay.
All right. Would you do that when I forgot the punchline? Here you got in your
You're
show,
having
Harold, the
more
guy.
fun than the law allows, young man. You are, you know. Go ahead.
How about that extra fine dust? What about that?
I don't know. I let that
All right,
go
let me
because
tell
I
that
really
part.
don't
I do
know.
want to do the extra fine dust
Okay,
bit.
fine, by all means.
All right, let's talk. This is my
Thermite or
stand-up
something.
comedy. This is the story of the extra fine dust. There are online videos you can watch about what happened on 9/11,
Yeah.
and what was weird about it was there are scenes of lots of burned out cars and buses and trucks that are just been through incredible temperature changes. Of extraordinary, it just burned right down to just the metal, and car after car has this, and on top of it is this extra fine dust. So that was the scene of the crime before there was Building 7 came down. For a while Building 7 was still up, which
Yeah,
was several
yeah.
hours.
That's right. Yeah.
There are videos online where you see that so many vehicles, every vehicle in the street, including a fire truck, an arrived fire truck,
Yeah.
was totally reduced to cinders.
I'll be damned.
Its closest thing to skitters, the skeletons of metal.
Huh.
And there are people you can see poking around looking what the fuck is going on,
Yeah.
and there's this incredible like snow, but it's extra fine dust, whitish.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And your guest was saying, well, them buildings, when they come down. Now, I got it held back. I was want to say, look, I studied engineering, or
You did.
or I once pushed a wheelbarrow with cement for a couple of weeks and watched the guys work a little bit. I know all of it.
No, but you happen to be
No,
well
seriously.
educated.
No,
yeah.
I have the benefit of being allowed
Yeah.
enough interaction
Yeah.
with the world that I could apply. And I
Logical.
try to be an engineer.
Right. No,
Yeah.
it's true. You are.
I haven't recovered from that part.
No, you still know
Okay,
how
so
to make
anyhow,
things work. Yeah.
here's how. Well, first of all, I read on the internet as recently as the last couple of months, some guy was saying the reason there wasn't any concrete around is because the buildings didn't have any concrete.
Oh.
What about that?
Well,
Where was the concrete in the World Trade
I
Center?
don't know. The concrete's
Was there any
disappearing. It's
concrete? Wasn't it all
glass
metal?
now.
Where's the concrete? Why they didn't need concrete, did they?
I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I don't know. I don't know quite what you're getting at. Really.
Okay, well, I'm going to answer my question. Here's the deal. Now, there was approximately, some say 4, some say 5, and some say 4.5 inches thick concrete for every floor. And the reason there's this quibble is it was on metal pans that were corrugated. So there's different dimensions.
Oh, I see. Well, they're fine-tuning.
But anyhow,
their
they
data.
had corrugated metal pans, and then they had poured about an extra 4 or 5 inches of concrete. And I think it was steel reinforced, but maybe not. Maybe the only reinforcement was that corrugation. That made life easier.
Oh.
And that disappeared. There was none of that on ground zero. And I want to explain how that happened on your show, Harold.
Well,
Can I do that?
Yes, if you want. I'm trying to get
All right,
at
here's
the
what it is.
implication.
Here's what it is. In April of 2009, 8 years later, more or less, from 2001 to 2009, a peer-reviewed scientific journal article had a photograph of what their electron microscope found in all the dust samples.
What was it? Thermite?
Thermite. They found it. And what did it look like?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What did it look like, Harold?
I don't know that. I know but I'm sorry. I shouldn't. Go ahead. Spell it out. Yeah.
I mean, you were bragging you knew where the punchline was, so what the fuck? I mean, give
No,
me the
the
rest of it.
punchline. My punchline.
I mean, you interrupted to give away my
no,
punchline.
I'm just asking you. So what? So it's thermite. Okay, and then spell it out. Yeah. That's used in controlled demolition.
Using a control of my temper. Here's the scoop now. What I'm trying to say is this. How did the concrete turn to dust? In the dust was a scientific article that showed that throughout all the dust was the remnants of a brand new man-made stuff called nanothermate.
Thermate. Okay. Yeah.
And the
okay,
difference between thermate and thermite kind of annoys me. I use the two kind of freely.
Yeah.
The mate is the stuff with the sulfur added, and that's the big difference. That's all.
That guy Jones out of Utah.
Now, why do you do that, Harold?
What?
Why do you show off Jones out of Utah? Why did you
I
want
didn't
to say
show off. That was.
Why
his
did you
name.
want to say it?
Well, he seems to me he brought that.
Well,
up.
okay, he's the guy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's all praise to Jones,
a
and he's
thought,
on that
just a-
paper. Yeah, he's not the #1 guy on the paper. He's the #2 guy, but he is to be credited as the one, and beyond that, he is one of the heroes of trying to bring truth coming through in a political struggle with the bad guys.
Yeah. Well.
So here's what
and
they found
David
in
Ray
the deal
Griffiths,
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
What they found was this. They found a new form of thermite.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Now, first of all, how much time we got here?
Well, we've got about 10 minutes or 12 minutes.
All right, I'll waste a little on the thermite story. Aluminum particles and rust particles, when in physical touch, just aluminum and rust, when they ignite, they achieve a temperature of 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Hello, that is serious temperature. 4,500 degrees. How'd you do that? Just aluminum and rust. Whoa, they figured that out in 1890, and they used it to build the railroad. So that trick has been known on the chemist's shelf. Aluminum and rust, 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit when you need it. Then came along nanotechnology. That came along about 40 years ago. They said, what happens if the particles of aluminum and rust are extra small? Nano size, that's nanotechnology. What size had you before? Those little grains there, how big are those? About as big as a hair. Okay, now let's divide that by 1,000. What did they come up with? Not only that same old temperature, 4,500, but now they had a super explosive. That's what happened to the flooring on 9/11.
Yeah.
That explosive was used.
Yeah.
They found it. They found the problem was, once they figured out that it was that explosive, they said, let's mix it with some paint and spray it all over. They did that. They turned the on button on and nothing went off. It didn't work. And the problem was the paint mixture was getting in the way of the physical touching of the aluminum and the rust particles.
These are details.
So
of
here's the
something.
deal. What they found, that paper of April '09, was they found the solution was to have nano-sized ceramic particle chips, nano-sized flat open face sandwich ceramic chip in nano world, but a flat plate of ceramic. On top of that, silicon carbide foam that had within its different chambers nano size, uniform size and shape aluminum plates and nano-sized cubes of rust in little chambers on ceramic chips throughout all the dust on 9/11.
So 9/11 was an inside job done by the United States government and other major players of the world political scene is the pattern that comes out of the 9/11 truth movement, of which there are lots of people all over the world adhering to, right?
How did that get in there?
Well, that's
How did that nanothermite get
I
applied to
don't
the
know. It's the
situation?
detail of the pattern. The pattern is that it was an inside job done by not 4 airplanes or something, but is that not correct, the pattern?
I want to direct the public's attention to a photograph of the application online, a photograph online they can go to of the people who did the spraying of this explosive under the ceramic flooring of the World Trade Center.
Okay, go into detail. Yeah, okay.
Can you imagine that? A photograph of 3 guys in whitish suits on a yellow scaffold, and overhead is corrugated steel, and they're spraying on it. And
It's-
this are the guys. These guys are working for a company that won the contract.
Yeah.
The
These are
con-
details of the pattern, though, aren't
But
they?
it's the proof.
We could go into
It's
10
the
years
proof.
of... Well, the proof positive.
People,
of
I
the
mean, once I can do this identification, Harold,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
well,
document.
so what? So what? So what does it say?
Well, that our government is corrupt.
All
and
right,
that
that's the pattern.
That
yeah.
9/11 is a big lie.
Yeah, 9/11 is
And
a lie.
along the way, I am the guy to talk about. Let's get into that. How much money we got?
Well, one
How
of the
much
things
more time?
we got 10, we got 8 minutes.
All right, here's what I want to use that.
I'd like to get into something
No,
if we could,
Here's,
but we can't.
yeah,
Okay, I can't say anything. You want to? You
yeah.
could just talk. you
Yeah,
know.
let's just let me talk. What I want to talk about
All right.
is what I've tried to achieve to make guys like you happy in talking about the economic system. Let us praise, all of us as a people, the power of the individual.
Well, go on.
The individual as a leader, as somebody who can put things together and should be given power to make decisions in society. Individuals is like a phenomenon. Let us acknowledge it in our social design. But what I'm proposing, I think this is something that you didn't quite catch on to when you give me this. How is the did that? What I'm proposing, Harold, is revolution with a wide blackboard,
Yeah. Okay.
whatever color it is
Okay.
nowadays.
Okay,
And let us, as a people, figure out what is the way to achieve our productive energy being used wisely as a people, like from a brand new slate, you know, with a magic wand and all. We, the people, make the calls how we want to make the changes before it happens, like in the comfort of your own home, a discussion led by Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman about what is obviously the better way to go if we, the people,
What is
could
that
announce
better
our
way? What's the
well,
better
if
way?
we could announce ourselves the owners of it all, then number one, we have to acknowledge the urgency of the rearrangement of everything in the name of carbon emission. That is like extra heavy duty emergency
You mean
at
the
the moment.
global warming issue?
Global warming
Yeah.
issue, right, that
Yeah.
one. Okay,
All right.
so, but a redesign,
That's a big
that's
one.
like a martial law right there. But we need, before the urgency of that, let us take advantage of, we got some time to think out loud about it before the change of power becomes more obvious. But we're saying, let us create the alternative in talk and then make a graceful transition.
Well, make a okay. Well, that's a lot. Okay, right.
But while we're
that's
doing
what-
the talking, I'm saying don't be afraid of going full scale, Harold.
Well, full
And,
scale.
yeah.
In my way of thinking,
Full scale change.
I would just go quick, full scale change. Yeah, I agree with that. That it's not enough to talk about a revolution or some sort of political.
Well, not a new party.
Well, I can't say anything. You don't
Well,
want me to say anything? I can't say anything.
I was chiming right in
No,
with
you
brother.
weren't chiming in. You were interrupting.
Excuse me.
You should put duct tape on your mouth. No, I mean that is not the alteration that's going on now is not just like the French Revolution or a Bill or Franklin Roosevelt or Second World War or something like that. What's going on now? We're coming to the end of 200,000 years of the human experience. The context within which all of our institutions. Well, you want to interrupt? You
Well,
don't wanna
we're
hear?
there. I mean, here
We're
we
not-
are.
Okay, I agree with you. We are there.
Here I am. I'm the answer to that.
No. Oh well. Oh,
I'm on your show, Harold. I am
Okay.
saying let the people, in the name of reason. That was a funny
you
sentence.
know, you have a. You have a.
In the name of reason, let's do it. I'm the guy to say let's do it.
Well,
The
I
friendly
know.
revolution. So
Yeah.
you're saying, well, in historical concept, this is the moment
Right.
of 200,000 years. Okay, well,
Yeah,
whatever.
no,
so,
that's
but here,
right, that's
but
right.
here we are right now in your show.
No, but that we're trying. The point is, what are the parameters by which the design science revolution could come?
I'm
What
saying
is-
full respect of the individual. What
No,
else
that's
do you need?
nothing.
Do you
That's
want
just-
justice going on? I
Well-
have discovered justice with my birthday deal, right? Have I done that?
Well, okay. yeah.
For the people who
Anyway,
tuned in
one of the
late.
nicest things
Here's
you've
what
been-
I declare. I declare the biology of justice revealed
Yeah.
by Genesis 49:16.
Yeah, but is the justice going to include everybody, including the bad guys? You've got bad guys you've gone out who brought down trade centers and done all kinds of nasty things, making war, killing people, and all the rest. Are we going to include the bad guys in it? And it appears to me you're going to have to include them in it as well as the good guys. And you're going to have to then have something that can shake the timbers and so forth of those who are responsible for the outdated institutions, which are virtually all that we have around us,
Wait, no, wait, the
architecturally
ones
and
who-
intellectually.
wait.
And that's why I
What
applaud
to
you.
do? What to do as to punish the guys who are the
You
ones
don't
who
want to
hold-
punish anyone. You want to have an understanding of what's going on. And it has to be something
Understanding?
that can include everybody, right?
Wait, we're way past
And that's why
understanding.
Mr.
We're
Piketty
creating.
is so
no,
important.
We're talking about creating, not understanding.
No. You want to understand what
I
you're
will-
doing
let-
before you create.
Well, I
you
agree
have to
with
have
that.
a design
I
science.
agree with that.
And you have to have an operating manual for Spaceship Earth that's taking into a large, all-inclusive context, not a politicized thing, all-inclusive. And that's why Mr. Piketty.
Why do you, wait, hold on. Wait, go back.
That's my
let's,
presumption.
let's go right back to
What
that
is- we
operation
haven't got
manual
time.
for
We
Spaceship.
haven't got time to
Let's
fill
talk
it up.
about that one.
Well, I haven't got time. I got
Operation
three.
manual. That's what we're talking
An
about.
operating manual for Spaceship Earth. That's
hold on.
Bucky Fuller.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's
Yeah.
a cutesy. Now, what does that mean when you utter it? I mean,
Well-
I'm talking about exactly that right now, aren't we?
No, I don't
Aren't
think
we
so.
talking about
You're talking
climate
about
change
thermite
is the
bringing
fate
down
of the
World
earth?
Trade Centers and the bastards who are running things, and that it's not a good world. You need Tom Hartman and this in order to set up, I don't know, a socialist world or something. You now have people running the world that are not in that camp. You have to get in touch with the people who are running the world, not just pontificating about how bad they are and that we, the people, are so good and we can do it. We have to have everybody included, including the outdated institutions. That's why the best thing you've done recently is Thomas Piketty. He is being read by the establishment that runs the world. We don't run the world. They've got to be included in it, and they're being shaken up by the fact that there are inherent contradictions in the system that can make them think about being involved in an operating manual for Spaceship Earth that has to include them as well as all of the people. That's the only point I wanted to make. I think it's worth bringing up. And it's not usually there within all of the political dialectic that builds upon enemies and so forth out of history. We got to transcend history, and we got to include everybody and the ecology, and we can do it now in a way that we've never been able to do until this very moment. That's the thing that's got to become in informing the intellectual class, and they've been co-opted by adherence to outdated, reified institutions, all of which are 360 degrees having trouble, a lot of angst in the world. We've got to have a pattern to get out of it. Seems to me maybe public access will be a good place where some information can get out relevant to getting into that kind of a context rather than the political context. The political system is being, the leaders of the political system are being fundamentally challenged at a level of inoperability of the basic premises by which they form capital and distribute demand and set up the institutions of the world.
Are you
That's
ready to
gotta
wear
change.
this hat?
We're out of time. Joe, thank you. We're out of time. Finally got a word in edgewise with Joe Friendly. Amazing. Thanks for viewing. That's a little summary of that. He put on 2 weeks, 2 days in advance, 2 days in a row, Thomas Piketty, the economist that has the establishment people, not us, the establishment people, really, really worried. And that's good. Okay, so that's the end. That's 58 minutes. I finally got that in. I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
That should be running. Keep the tape running.
That guy went off. See, I had the